Hello, dear friends. This is Jeannie from Metal Dollhouse Rescue. Today I'm going to talk about this little teeny tiny Marx Colonial dollhouse that I actually created by taking pictures of an actual Marx Colonial when it was in pieces. So it was taken apart and cleaned and polished, the original. And then I took pictures of each one, and then I put them on a Word document, and then I assembled them correctly on the Word document so I could print it out, and then I could cut this out and assemble it and make a little tiny replica dollhouse, an exact replica of a real dollhouse that I used to own, but I just recently sold it. I do still have one just like this that was my childhood home. That's why I picked this house. But I'm going to show you how to make it. And look, each teeny room is an exact replica of the great big house that I had. And here you can see it next to Grandma. For scale size, it's like a 124 size. It would also fit in a 116 or 118 house. Now, my idea is to make some of these and have them available for sale. But I also thought I could make the printout available and send it to you as a download for a small fee. Or if you want, I'm always willing to print those for you and mail you the printed hard copy, and you can assemble it yourself. Again, there'd be a cost for that. Or I'll sell them already put together. But in case you download it, and in case I send you the download and you download it yourself and want to assemble it, or if I send you the printout, then I thought I'd show you how to actually assemble it. Now I'm not going to lie. These, when you cut these pieces out, they are little tiny pieces and require some little tiny folds. So this is going to be for somebody that's an experienced crafter or comfortable cutting little things out and assembling little tiny things. I don't want you to get into this and be frustrated. Now, if you order the download from me, it would look something like this. It's got some instructions on it. I'm going to type up some more instructions. It's got some tabs on here that are marked, and they say tab. There's some little lines that show you where to fold and so on. So this is kind of what it looks like. But I'm going to show you step by step how to assemble it. And then if you get this in the mail, you can assemble it yourself. So here is one that I've already kind of started. And the first thing I like to do is I like to cover, and this is, kind of optional. Any craft, a lot of times is, you do it the way you want to do it. But this is what I did and what I kind of recommend. I like to cover the outside walls. So that would be this section here, the outside walls, and then this folds in and is part of the laundry room. I like to cover this and then this part, these two. This is outside and this is the inside of the upstairs bedroom. And then the roof, I like to cover with like a clear packing tape, and I use kind of a lightweight tape. And you can kind of see on there, you can see that tape that I've covered that, and that laminates those so they're a little extra durable, adds a little tiny weight, and it'll keep, as you're handling that, it'll keep, or little kids are handling it, it'll keep from fingerprints getting on there or anything like that. So I do that, and I've done that on this little house. And when I say clear packing tape, this is a kind of a lightweight packing tape. It's kind of the weight of a Scotch tape, like when you wrap presents, but it's a little wider. So that's what I use. Now, if you do that, and if you get a little wrinkle in it, and honestly, I have a little wrinkle on this one right here, that's okay. Remember, these original houses are like 75 years old, and your original house might have a few little mars or crinkles on it, so that just makes it realistic. That is kind of the way they are. So after you do that, then you're going to cut each piece out. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces to cut out. Here they are laying out on my paper. I have all these cut out for us already. And you might remember I said there are some little tabs. This one's got little tabs on it. They're marked on there that you'll want to cut out, and you'll use these to help glue your little house together to give it some added stability, and so you'll have something to glue to. This one's got little tabs here on the side. This one's got a little tab here and one down here. So we're going to start by we're going to take the big outside piece, and we're going to use the bottom floor, the bottom story, this one here, and we're going to glue them together. So first we're going to fold those. You're going to fold this one in half. This is the bottom of the dollhouse, and this is the bottom floor. So we're going to fold that in half. This one's actually got my little signature on it because the original house had my little signature on it. So just fold that in half and crease it nicely. Put a nice crease on there. So now you've got the bottom floor and the bottom of the bottom floor, the outside bottom of the floor. All right, so there's these little side tabs. We're going to fold those up on each side. Fold them up. All right, so now it looks like that. It's going to go like that in your house because this is the laundry room on this house, the kitchen, and then the living room. All right, so here's the outside, the big outside shell of the house. So we're going to fold it here. This will be the inside living room wall. This is the outside living room wall. This is the big front of the house. This is the outside of the laundry room. This is the outside edge of the laundry room, and this is the inside laundry room. So it's hard for me to tell you how to fold this, but this one's going to go back. This one's going to fold back, this section. This one is also going to fold back. Then right here, there is not a fold. Over here, this will fold back and this will fold back. Let's get that done. This part has two tabs on it. It's got a big long tab here in the bottom, and then it's got, this is a roof tab, which we're not going to use yet, and then this tab also on the side. So we're going to fold this one and this one. This one's going to also fold back. Now this paper is not very hard to fold. I print these, and I also have Staples or Office Max print these for me, and they're printed on, I call it shiny like brochure paper. So it's a little bit thicker than your normal printer paper, but it's not real thick. It's not like a cardstock at all. There's a little tab here on this end too by the laundry room. We're going to fold. That actually folds forward. Okay, now it looks like that. We're getting ready to fold that in and make that little house. But before we do that, we're going to glue this floor to this great big bottom tab down there. I say great big bottom, it's not all that big. We're going to fold it to this little tab here. We're going to glue it on there. Now I like to use this 3-in-1 craft glue. You can use whatever glue you like. You want something that's a little bit tacky, not real runny, and something that would dry pretty quick because you know, that way you can kind of hold it in place and it'll dry within, you know, 10-30 seconds versus something that would take a long time. But you can use the glue of your choice. This is something I like to use. I'm going to run this glue along here. Then I'm going to put my bottom floor down in there. And another thing you want to do is always kind of dry fit and make sure that you've got your folds in like in a pretty good spot. And because some of these pieces might be a little bit big and you might want to trim them off, but this one looks really good. Okay, we are ready to attach this floor to the shell of the house. Remember, this is the front of the house, and it's all folded. So as I attach this, I'm going to put some glue in here to glue the top to the bottom, and I'm going to put glue along this tab because I'm going to glue that tab between those two layers like that and hold it tight. So then that will help add some stability. That tab will be used to attach these two pieces together. Now, if you see any white that you failed to trim off, this would be a good time to trim that off. For instance, if you felt like you didn't cut this quite right, while it's still flat and not glued together, it's a good time to trim that off. Now, when I did my little dry fit, I thought I could see a little bit of white down here in the corner in the fold. So you could run a brown marker through there or even a black marker, Sharpie. In this case, I put a little bit of brown paint along each of those folds just so that white doesn't show because I find that distracting. It looks more like it's made out of paper then rather than a little tiny tin house. All right, so let's put some glue on this tab and then this bottom tab, this long skinny one, and then we'll put some glue in here and then we'll hook that together. All right, our next step. Well, one other nice thing about this particular glue, and Eileen's would also be the same, is it doesn't set up immediately. So you have a few seconds you can kind of shift stuff around and to get it in the position that you want. So, and I actually did that on this and I got it right exactly where I want it now. Okay, our next step is we're going to put glue on this tab on this end, front and back, and also on this tab on this end, front and back. and a little bit here. Now you can see it doesn't take a lot of glue. It just takes a little, I just smear a little bit on there, maybe kind of around the edge a little bit. It doesn't have to be solid. And the same here, I'm going to put glue here and here. And then I'm going to pinch all of that together with that tab up in there and squeeze it nice and tight. Now I don't have the glue on there yet, but you can see it's almost holding together right now. This back tab, I'll eventually lift that up and put a little bit of glue on the back of that, or I might do that at this time too, and attach it to the back. It just gives just a little more stability. So glue on the front and back of each of these tabs, glue on the inside of these walls, and then pinch each side done. I tell you what, I think I'm going to do one side first. I'll do this side first, and then I'll do this side. Let's work on our next piece. Now this tab we'll use when we do the upstairs, and this tab we'll use when we do the roof. So you don't need to worry about those right now. The next piece we're going to need is this long skinny one, and this starts with laundry room, kitchen, 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 and then the big living room wall. So to fold this, let me think a minute. I know we're going to fold this one back. This one we're going to fold kind of accordion-like. So the one between the laundry room and the kitchen folds back. The one between the laundry room and laundry room, here, this is going to fold forward. Like I said, this is going to kind of be an accordion. Now you're going to want the bottoms level as you fold. So here, how see that's not level along here on the left hand side. Can you see that? I'll get you real close. So I'm going to try to fold that so this bottom is flush, and then do my nice pinch or crease on there. Let's see how that looks inside. It looks good inside. Now there's a little room for forgiveness on this stuff, so don't stress. All right, from kitchen to kitchen, you're going to fold forward. I always have to think about this, but you know, honestly, when you think through it, you can figure it out. So again, I'm going to fold, the bottom's going to be flush with the part behind it. Okay, then from this kitchen to kitchen, fold forward. Make sure your creases are nice. Make sure that floor part is flush. The top's not as important, but the floor part is. And then from the living room, it's going to fold back. From the kitchen to the living room, folds back. Then we need one more fold, and it's a little hard to see on here, but you're going to fold right here along this green before you get to the door. It needs to match that fold from the kitchen. Fold that forward. Now I think you might be able to sort of see what we've done here. We've made the walls that look like that. See? You got your little tiny kitchen there. This laundry room will go like that. Then the living room comes over here. So now we're going to put glue between these pinches. So this will be between the laundry room and kitchen, and between the kitchen and the living room, we're going to put glue between those and make them tight. Now, this part is intentionally taller. When you put it together, you'll notice that's that railing on the house, on the balcony upstairs. So that's intentionally taller. That's why you make your bottom flush and not your top. All right, glue between your living room, or I'm sorry, laundry room and kitchen, and between the kitchen and the living room. As I'm getting ready to glue this, I can see that this is not exactly flush across there, and it probably should be. So I'm going to adjust that fold a little bit to make that flush from here to here. That looks good. Now you're going to dry fit these bottom walls here into the case of the house. Now I can tell you, I on purpose had left a little bit of green on this side that you are probably not going to need. You're probably going to cut all of that green off to the right of that curtain. The other thing, I try to line up the walls so that they'll kind of line up with the floor. And they don't have to be exact, but I feel like if I cut off this wall, laundry wall over here, just maybe 1/8 of an inch, that those walls are going to line up pretty nicely with the floor. So I'm going to do that next. Then I'm just going to put glue along here, glue it in, and then when I like it, I'll put a little drop of glue on the bottom here and along here, and that will hold those walls in place. All right, this is looking good. Now, if it doesn't look perfect, don't be concerned. It's tiny. Um, Everything you craft is always going to have your individual. It's going to be a little different than mine. This is the fourth one of these I've made, so I'm getting a little more skilled as I go on having stuff lined up. But don't stress about it. Just have fun with it. It's going to be adorable. All right, we're ready to put the upstairs floor in. And it started out looking like this. I folded it in half and put a nice crease along there. And then I folded that back tab up. Now, in this case, I am, well, you really can't even probably tell, but there's just a little bit of a gap here. That's going to be fine. That's the bottom of the upstairs floor. This is a good time if you got any extra white showing here, trim it off, or any white showing here, trim it off. We're going to end up gluing this. It's going to glue in here like this, so we'll dry fit it right there. And this tab that's up, well, first we're going to glue this together and make him tight. Let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll dry fit him in there. Just takes a little bit of glue along there. It doesn't have to be 100%, just enough to keep that whole, glue that top part, that top colored part, down to that white part. Then we'll just hold that a minute until it gets dry. Okay, it's about dry, so I'm about ready to glue it. But when I did my dry fit, I want to show you what I noticed. When I put that floor in there, I feel like, see how it feels like it goes downhill over on this side? It's a little low. That's going to rest on those walls, and I'm going to want that pretty straight. So I'm going to put my scissors in here and just trim the top little bit of this off to get that level. And then I'm going to put glue along here, this tab, right? The white tab there on the back. And I'm put a little dot of glue on the top of here, and then they'll need a little glue on this left side by the patio and a little glue on the right side. And then put that down in there. It'll be just like that, only it'll be level when I do it. And that will be nice and tight in there. But let me trim that off and then glue it. We are ready for the next step. And oh, this is so stinking adorable. Look at how you can see that little nursery room floor, the bathroom, the master bedroom, the patio. Now I will tell you, this glue over here didn't quite attach, but it's still easy enough, even when you get done, to go back and put a little bit more glue in there, hold it tight and get it dry. So I'm going to do that, and then we're going to move on to the next step. Okay, we're going to get the upstairs walls ready to put in. And so this is what they look like. They have the outside wall over here, and then the master bedroom. There's 3 master bedroom walls, 3 for the bathroom, and then 2 for the nursery. So this is how you fold them. The first one goes back, the next one goes forward, the next one goes forward, then the bathroom wall goes back, and then forward, and then forward, and then back, and then forward. So, you're just going to have to think about what those rooms are going to look like in order to keep track, because they're going to look like this, right? You're going to have over here, the master bedroom is going to be a square. Then the bathroom is going to look like that. And then this is just going to have 2 walls because the third wall is already in there. The third nursery room wall is already in there. So You're gonna have to take my word for it. Now, as I folded these, I kept the bottom flush all the way along, like we did on the downstairs wall. And I also paid better attention this time to making these walls. Let's see. When I folded this between the master and the bathroom, I made sure that was nice and flat right there, like a table. And I did the same thing here. I just made sure they were flat, even if the graphics were off a bit. Actually, the graphics didn't seem to be off, but if they were, I would still have done that. Now, these are going to attach to the roof, so don't worry about those. We are going to, at this point, glue our appropriate walls together. So the end wall to the master to the bath, and the bath to the nursery. I'll do that, and then you'll see what it looks like. Before I do that, let me correct myself. I'm not going to do this first glue yet, because when I put that on there, I'm going to attach that tab in there. So that wall is not going to get glued yet, but the other ones will. Now we're going to do a dry fit, dry fit that into place. And I feel like, again, like this nursery wall is a little too wide up here. So I'm going to cut off, probably not a 1/4 inch, probably more like an 1/8 inch. It'll get up close to that little graphic, but that graphic's so tiny you really can't even make it out to even see what it is. So we're going to cut it off, like I said, about 1/8 of an inch up there, because I want that wall to fit in there and not buckle. And we want those floors to kind of line up with where the walls are. Okay, that is like perfect. You probably can't see it, but it's perfect. So my next step is glue here along the back, and then it will glue right in here, right? It'll be the upstairs part of the house, right along there. And also I'm going to glue these walls together, but I'm going to capture that tab in there. When I pinch it shut, I'm going to have the glue in there and pinch that shut in there. I'll probably put a little glue right on that tab. After I do that, I'm going to put a dot of glue under each floor section. So it'll be like here, and that one laid down there and there. I'll put a dot of glue under there, and then those walls won't shift back and forth. Guess what? We're getting close to done. Before I glued, just for convenience, I took all those roof tabs and I folded them down or towards the inside of the house. We're going to use those at the very end to attach to the roof, but just to make it easier to fold, I went ahead and folded those now. I'm going to kind of push them up and get them out of the way while I glue this in. All right, dear friends, we are getting close to the end. We have to put the roof on and the chimney. Now, there's something I meant to talk about earlier, and I'm going to go ahead and mention it now. When you cut these tabs out, you don't have to be real precise. You probably cannot see the original lines on here, but they don't have to be exactly this size. Don't feel like you have to cut them precise. In fact, if anything, I would make them a little bit longer than what it might show on the pattern. Just as long as you have a nice square tab there, that's going to be perfect to hook our roof onto. Don't be concerned about white along this side. That's going to be covered by the roof. So anything that's not quite right up here, don't worry about it. It's going to be covered by the roof. Let's go ahead and get our roof on. Here's my roof. I've already got it cut out. It will need folded 3 times. You want to fold this white edge up even so the white doesn't show on the front. That just gives you a little stability. I left that white so you could see where to fold. And the same thing with the back. Fold that up. So you've got, rather than a raw edge, you've got that little folded edge. And then you don't fold it exactly in the middle. It's hard to tell, but these houses are a little shorter on the front than on the back. And there's a very faint light line there that will tell you where to fold. Now, if you fold it off a little bit, that's okay. I've folded these in half and it still comes out okay. But if you can remember, the front should be a little bit shorter, and there's a very faint light line there, which you probably cannot see on the camera, especially with this tape on here. So first we're going to glue this flap down on each side so that will be nice and flat. Let's dry fit the roof. Now I pulled these tabs back up because you're going to want your roof to be in contact with those, but we're just going to put that on there, let that roof push those tabs down and kind of dry fit it and see if we like how that looks. I think we do. Now, I have left this roof intentionally a little bit longer than you might need. So you might need to or want to cut off maybe 1/8 of an inch along one side of this. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. You decide, put it on there and think about if it's the right. I kind of like a little bit of overhang on both edges. So I think, I don't know, I think I'm going to trim just a little tiny bit off the left-hand side here. All right, yeah, I trimmed off about 1/8 of an inch, and I am liking that. So now to get this to stay on there, you're going to put a little glue on the top of each one of these tabs, and then we're going to put it back on there and let those come in contact with the bottom of that roof, and that will hold that roof on there. After I get it on there, you'll see me put my finger up in each room and kind of push those tabs up against the bottom of the roof. Okay, I've also turned it around here in the back, and up high here I'm going to put a little bead of glue right along the very top edge here, and maybe just a little bit right here too, to hold that roof down really nice. Okay, friends, if you've got any place that's a little bit loose, feel free to put a little dab of glue and hold it just a moment. Tighten that up. Mine were a little bit loose here in the front corners. Otherwise, I think this is my favorite one so far. It's kind of came out the straightest. It looks really nice. I am in love. We're going to do the chimney, and the chimney, oh, guess what? It's not, if we've saved the best for last. First of all, this chimney is teeny, and when you cut it out, you would be wise. There's some little tiny, almost V looking white up here at the top, and that's where you're going to fold. So there'll be a fold here. I'm sure you cannot see that. A fold here and a fold here. So let me put those folds in, and then we'll look at it. All right, so I've got my 3 folds, and I also folded that tab down. There's a white tab right there, a little white tab. That's going to go on the inside, and that's what's going to glue that together for you. It's good to have a toothpick handy for this. This is really tiny, tiny work. There, now I've got it in the right shape. Can you see how that's a little tiny rectangle there? So we're going to glue that tab to make that little tiny rectangle. You see, it's just how little it is compared to that toothpick. So I'll put a little glue on that tab, and then that is going to be good. Okay, there's a little tiny, you can see if you've assembled this correctly, there's a little tiny V shape on the side of that chimney. That is going to straddle the peak of the roof over here on the right hand side like that. I'm sure you cannot see that. So the only way I know how to do this is to put a blob of glue where you want that, and then set your chimney on there, and then just let it dry. And I can tell you on my last one, the chimney came out a little crooked. But remember, in real life, your house would be like 75 years old, and so your chimney might be a little bent and out of shape. Well, that's okay. This one I'm going to try to get on a little straighter. Let us see how it goes. A dollop of glue, and then we'll just set that chimney on there. That's it, dear friends. Congratulations if you've hung with me this long. Congratulations if you're willing to give this a try. Like I said, it's kind of something. It's very little tiny work. So if you're an experienced crafter, give it a try. I urge you to give it a try. This is my best one so far, and I think each time I make one, they come out a little bit better, a little bit straighter. The chimney's a little better than my last one, but I am just delighted with all of them. All right, thanks so much for joining me, and best of luck to you on your dollhouse efforts.